with you the Ellis Resident Survey Program. Many of you may know Ellis partners from our mystery shops, and we also have resident surveys and renter's voice. All three are the components of our resident experience program, and they all interface and all use the same dashboard. So today I'm going to walk you through an overview of our survey program, and then we're going to go ahead and jump into the dashboard. And just plan on showing you a few highlights of the dashboard so that you can easily navigate your results. Our program is all about understanding the resident journey. And our survey is about collecting feedback from all the way from the prospect experience with mystery shops, lead conversion surveys, throughout the current resident's life cycle with you. And our program really helps you to understand our residents and understand what they value so that we can better serve them and really listen to them too and understand the kind of experience they are having throughout their journey with us. Our survey tool allows you to listen again at each of the touch points: lead conversion, move-in, maintenance, pre-renewal, and move-out. It also allows managers to respond to residents directly from the dashboard, again creating a history trail for each resident. Our goal with our program is to help you take action and make it a better experience one resident at a time. As a side note, we do have clients that have been on our program since the inception that are being able to attribute up to a 30% drop in negative reviews based on giving their residents an opportunity to give them feedback before it goes public. So again, a tool to help you to be proactive. Our goal with our program, again, we measure the prospect journey when people come to our communities during that lead conversion moment, then as they move in with us. And our goal is to really create a more loyal fan base, people who are promoting you, people that are loyal, they're loyal to you, they're bought in, they're willing to recommend, they're willing to pay more, and they're willing to stay longer. In our program, we use what's called the Net Promoter Score. And the Net Promoter Score is used by Disney, JetBlue, Starbucks, UGG Boots, Pottery Barn, all these big companies that have really been very successful at putting the customer at the center of their business, very customer-centric. In fact, the Net Promoter Score is really taking traction in the multifamily industry, so you will see more of that. And it's all based on the question of, would you recommend? Would you recommend? So on every one of our surveys, you will see, based on this maintenance interaction alone, what is the likelihood that you would recommend this community to your friends and family? So if you were to get a Starbucks survey, that'll be one of the first questions on the survey. Those companies that are using the Net Promoter Score methodology, which again we've incorporated into our program, because we feel that if you meet someone's needs, they're satisfied. That's what they're paying for. It's when you can go beyond the expectation where you're really creating that relationship of appreciation and really that wow factor. And that's our goal with you, is to be able to, again, create more of a loyal fan base. Because the second question that you'll find on our survey and in all these customer-centric company surveys is, what is the likelihood of repurchase? If it's a Starbucks survey, it might say, what is your likelihood of repurchase within the next 30 days? With us, because we have a good amount of time to influence that repurchase decision, with renewal, typically we have about 12 months. So this methodology works very well in multifamily. So whether it's a maintenance survey, whether it's a move-in survey, there will be a question that follows the recommend question that will say something to the effect, based on your move-in experience, what is the likelihood that you will renew with us? So that way you're touching base with your residents throughout their life cycle with you, touching base to see what kind of an experience are they having at these different moments of truth, these different moments of time. Again, these are just some of the companies that use the Net Promoter Score within our industry. Here's when we listen to your residents. When you all started your program with us, the survey program, we did what's called a benchmark survey. And that went out to every one of your residents at one time. And that really, we were able to give you a snapshot of what your loyalty was at that moment in time. But as we move forward with the program, all the integrations are done through your software. So as you know, you don't need to do anything on your end. The surveys are triggered by transactions that happen on site. So when a prospect comes to your community, provided they gave you their email address, they will receive a survey within 24 hours. If they choose to sign a lease with you, they'll receive a move-in survey after 30 days. By then, we expect there was a relationship created with that on-site team and your new residents. So questions are more warm and fuzzy. Does it feel like home? Is the on-site team approachable? Are your expectations the same now as they were prior to moving in? So those are the kinds of questions on that move-in survey. Then our service request. We don't want to over-survey, so we'll send out a survey once every 180 days regarding maintenance. And it'll say, based on your most recent service request, what is the likelihood you will recommend? In addition, there will be about a total of 10 to 12 questions on every survey. And they fall into 3 buckets. Are we meeting your needs in terms of service, value, and in general in terms of renewal and in terms of repurchase? So you'll see about 12 questions or so, and again, they fall into those 3 buckets: value, needs, and service. As you get closer to renewal, a survey will go out to your residents. Again, it's all done via email, and this will test basically the temperature about 90 to 120 days prior to renewal discussions, and then move out. If they choose not to renew and they move out, they'll receive a survey about 30 days after move out. So I just want to mention also that VRP, which is the Verified Resident Program, is available with Ellis Partners. You would sign up through the Manager Center at apartmentratings.com. And if you were to do that, let us know. We will set up the prompts at the end of each of your surveys, allowing your residents to leave a review that will be pushed onto apartmentratings.com. There is a charge associated with that through apartmentratings.com. There's no charge on our end. So in terms of our surveys, they are not anonymous. Each survey is accompanied with a cover letter that says, please give us your honest feedback. And then at the end it says something to the effect of, someone from our team may reach out to respond to your feedback. And what you'll find is people are very honest. They're going to tell you more than they would in person, which is good, but they're also not going to be crazy emotional and irrelevant as they could be with anything that would be anonymous. So you will find some very good objective feedback. And as with anything with feedback, I just would like to preface that with, make sure you just take it with a grain of salt, because no matter where you live, you could live in a palace, you can live in a AAA property resort. People are going to tolerate something wherever they rent, and you know what that is. If you're a manager at your community or a regional manager over a portfolio, you know what residents are tolerating at certain sites. So try again not to take it personal, just to kind of make that mental shift of from defending your score to how can I serve better? How can I change their perception? Because truly it is their perception that matters. Even though you may know the whole story, your residents are going to share with you their story through the surveys. And what you can do in order to impact change would be, one, to listen to those residents and respond. Whether you can rectify it or not, just the point of acknowledging it will really go a long way in terms of creating more loyalty with your residents. The second way to really impact change and create a more loyal fan base is by recognizing global themes that are happening at your sites. And as time goes on and the more feedback that you get, you'll be able to pick up what those themes are and make policy changes and make more global changes to make it a better experience. Here's how you score. The score is based on 0 to 10. So if your residents on the recommend question, if they score 0 to 6 on whether or not they would recommend you, that would be considered a poor experience. And that score would be their likelihood of repurchase or renewal with you is at a 20 to a 25%. Those that are satisfied, those are good. They're pretty neutral. If a better deal were to come around the corner, they may jump ship, but their renewal likelihood with you is about 60 to 65%, whereas those of your residents that love you, they're scoring 9 and 10. The satisfied or good are scoring 7 and 8, and the poor are scoring 0 to 6. So of all the people that love you are having a great experience, their likelihood to renew with you is an 80 to an 85%. So our goal for you is really to help you move your residents up a category so that you create a better experience and you're really able to affect that behavior. And that's what the Net Promoter Score is all about. It's really seeing the behavior based on whether someone will repurchase or not, whether they are recommending you. Also, if we compare these likelihood to renew, these statistics to actual, there's a 10 to 12% margin where there's things that fall into place, like uncontrollables. So your satisfied fans, their likelihood to renew is closer to a 50, 55%. People that love you, their likelihood to renew is a 75, 70%. And those that are not having a great experience, 10, 15%. Here's how we determine your score. So we take, of all the surveys that come in, we take those people that score 9 and 10 and love you, and we subtract those that don't. And that gives us our net loyalty score. These are the people that love us. This is where we are today. This is a snapshot. And the neutrals, they don't really play into the equation because, as we know, they can deflect in either direction. They have about a 50% chance of renewing with you. Here's, to give you perspective, negative, neutral, and positive. Every quarter we'll do a quarterly benchmark, a quarterly summary that all of our clients receive in their corporate offices. And last quarter, the overall average of all the people, all the units on our program was at about a 22. Now that's an average over your move-in surveys and move-out surveys, which are typically the lowest, pre-renewal, and maintenance. So you can expect that's kind of where the average would be. Those companies that have been in our program for several years, that have really focused on making company changes, cultural changes, all kinds of focus on their clients, they're about a 35. An entire portfolio might be around a 35. And then, of course, there's some properties that are much higher than that. But that kind of gives you perspective. Disney's at about an 80. TripAdvisor is about a 56. Starbucks is about a 70. Southwest and JetBlue, they fall around 70. It's impossible to get to 100%. So anything in this positive range is terrific because there's a lot of things we cannot control in our industry. Older buildings, slab leaks, weather, noisy neighbors, a lot of uncontrollables. But this just, again, to give you perspective. Once you are on our touchpoint surveys, you will be receiving these alert reporting. So the individual alerts will go right to your email, and I'm going to make this a little bit bigger so you can see this. What this is this allows you to get a quick update, a big flashing warning. A survey's come in, it's low scoring, needs immediate attention. So for any survey that scores a 6 and below, you will get this alert. It'll give you an opportunity to view the survey with this blue link here. Click on that. You don't have to log in. It'll take you right to the survey where you can respond. It'll tell you what the comment was, and again, it'll tell you who it is. And you'll get those for every low-scoring survey. So those will go right into your email. The other report that you'll get on a monthly basis is our customer loyalty score on a monthly basis. And it'll list at the bottom of this alert will be every property that's in combined with this average that you're being compared with. And it'll tell you your score this month and last month and what your company score is. And it'll break it down for you for overall and then each of the various touch points. In addition, we pull out for every single survey, we will pull out what's most important for this particular touch point. What has the biggest impact on recommending for your residents? So I would recommend this is a great point of origin for a meeting, a monthly meeting with your team to talk about where you're at now, where you were last month, where you're headed, what your goals might be. So this will come out, again, about the middle of the month, 16th or 17th of every month. The next alert that you'll get is our weekly alert. This will just remind you, you have 3 surveys that have come in. Click on the link. It'll take you right to the EPMS dashboard, and then you can go ahead and respond. The bars are, they say optional, required, and recommended. Green would be those that love you, score 9 and 10 out of 10. The red are scoring 0 to 6 out of 10. And the neutral recommended, we put recommended, is 7 to 8. And what that language is that's the Ellis Partners language. I would recommend that all of the surveys are responded to, and you will really delight people by responding to them, because you're going to find people, again, who maybe didn't have a great move-in experience, or maybe are having excessive maintenance in their apartments, and they just want to complain and let you know. And so being able to just acknowledge them will really go a long way in creating a more loyal resident. When you log in, again, you would go to the Ellis website. All of you should have passwords and logins. If you have any issue logging in, I'll be leaving you with my contact information at the end of this presentation. And I'm going to go right into the dashboard. So I'm just going to quickly navigate this so you see kind of how to respond to your surveys. And if you'd like to spend more time on here, I'll show you what the functionality of this dashboard. If you just want to go in, respond to your surveys, you're going to go straight to this accountability, respond to surveys. That's it. Click on that, and your property will immediately upload. I'm going to go ahead and choose a community here just to give you an idea. If you're a regional manager or in corporate, you'll probably have access to your whole region or to the whole portfolio. You would just have to find the community and then click on that. So here's all of the results. These are all pending surveys that have not been responded to for Polo Club. So here is my file cabinet. These are pending. If I want to see all that have closed, that'll have pending and that I've already closed out, or I can see all, which again would be all of the surveys. So closed would be just closed, all would be everything, and pending would be those that have not been responded to. So what this gives you is a way to track and have your documentation handy, and you can refer back to this. All of this data will stay on from the day that survey is submitted. It'll stay for 60 days. After that, that data will drop off from this particular tab. You will always have access to every survey that's ever been filled out at your community, and I'll show you where to find that. But if you're just coming in and you want to respond to your surveys, I would recommend you sort by response so you can see the negative first, because to me this would represent a more urgent matter, and you can click on that and respond. But we're going to go right down here to this particular gal. It's a maintenance survey. It tells me who it is. They scored 9 out of 10. They're very happy. Tells me the date. And again, optional is our lingo. I would recommend maybe coming up with an email template. I'll share one that I have that you can send to all of those residents who took the time to fill out a survey, and just thank them for taking the time and giving you that honest feedback. If I were to come into your office and I said, gosh, Mary, thank you so much for adding all that pull furniture, and the pull area looks great, or whatever it might be, you're not going to turn around and walk away from me. You're going to say, gosh, thank you for noticing. We've really worked hard getting that area cleaned up and renovated. And so make sure you take the time to thank those people who have really left some great objective feedback for you. So I'm going to go ahead and respond to this survey. I'm going to click Respond. And now I can go ahead and read the entire survey. And I can go down. Again, if English is a second language for any of your residents, you can click on Select Language, and you can switch it into any language. So I'm going to go down and just kind of read what the survey says. Sometimes people leave feedback, sometimes they don't. I think this person did, though. Very happy. Okay, let's see here. Okay, she didn't leave any feedback here, but let's go back. So if I want to respond to this, I can go back over here and email or record action. But let's say this person is about to renew. I can go over and see their whole history here of their entire life with me. And I can see if it's been a rocky road or if it's been smooth sailing. If I look at this, her move-in survey scored 10 out of 10, perfect score. Maintenance survey, 10 out of 10. Maintenance survey, 9 out of 10. Let's go ahead and look at the second survey. And I can go ahead and read all of the response. This person really is happy there. Very nice, like the community. Strongly agree she will be planning on renewing, which is exactly what we want to see. And then just a couple other questions there. So that's how you would go about reading the survey. Now, if I want to email this person back, Laura, I'm going to click on email. It's going to show your email, your name here, whatever your signature line says, and then I can go ahead and write Laura an email. It requires me to proofread it in case there's like a red squiggly line you'll see over here. It won't be a complete spell check, but you'll see a squiggly line if something's grammatically wrong or there's a spelling error. And I can send email, close survey, thanked her, done. Now, if there were some issues and it wasn't resolved, I can keep it open. I would get credit for responding, but I can keep it open because I'm not quite done with it. And in that case, this respond button will stay lit up, and I can go back in and respond again or close that survey out. Now, let's say I just want to call her. So I'm going to click on Record Action Taken, called Laura, thanked her, done. Closed. That one's done. Now it will fall out of my pending, and it'll go into my closed. So again, this is a way for you to manage your surveys and respond to them. And this box here will show you the history, and all correspondence from the managers will also show up here. And when you email them, it'll go straight from your box, and then you'll be able to correspond again via email. So you don't have to cut and paste. It all just goes automatically from the email that you provided us. So I'm going to go ahead and close out of here. So this is how I would respond. Click Respond. I'm going to get out of here really quick. And how did I get here again? I went to I was at the main dashboard. When you first log in, it's going to bring you to your shopping report dashboard. You want to go down to the resident survey dashboard right here. Click on that. This is going to default to this screen here, which is the initial overview. I'm going to go down to Accountability Respond to Surveys, go right to that tab. Your community will upload, and you're all set. Now, if I want to go ahead and see all the completed surveys that have ever been done, I can click on any of these. It'll list all of the surveys, and I can download those. Now, in terms of the dashboard, just a couple quick highlights. Right here is an overview. And what this shows, it gives your year-to-date. So year-to-date, when you started here at this particular region, this was, I can sort this by, if you're a community manager, you'll have access to your community. You can sort it by days, 365 days. You can customize it. If you want to see how many surveys you got yesterday, you just put in yesterday's date. I can filter this by region. So let's say I just want to filter it by property. And in that case, I'm going to go down and check mark the property. If I'm a regional, I have several regions, several communities in my region. I'm going to go over here to the resort at University. Let's see here. I accidentally checked off this one. Okay, check that one out. So I just want to see the resort at University Park. So what this is going to tell me, this is my year-to-date. From this time last year to this time today, I started at 59%, which is, here's the scale, extremely good, probably one of the highest scores that I've seen. So kudos to you at Resort at University Park. And then here's compared to my company. So this is year-to-date. Over here, if I look at the pie chart, this tells me that close to 69% of the people that are living with me are extremely happy. And I've got, if I look at my my resistors, they're at 9.8%, which is very low, and my indifferents are 21. So bring us back to today. Now the score is even higher at 75%. The whole company, all of Mission Rock, is doing extremely well. Company score is right now at about 30%. Again, our overall average is at a 22, so it's way beyond that. This particular property is at 75%. And if you click on the pie, 83% of the residents are scoring 9 and 10. Very happy. Neutral, 8%, and resistors are 8%. So both are 8%. Now, so this down here will give you my loyalty score compared to my company. And this is always going to be changing because every survey will affect that score. So this is in real time. Now, if I want to go ahead and look at my touch points, I can look at every single touch point on here on how I'm doing. So right here, this particular part, I'm going to go back to my region. So if I want to look at my whole region, and I'm going to, let's just say I'm going to look at Phoenix. Or let's go back to Colorado Springs. Okay, so what this is telling me is that here's my score from my region compared to my company. And it breaks down every one of the touch points, and move out is extremely high here, which is not very typical. And you know, by the way, there's a huge trend across the country really focusing on the move out experience, because mainly for two reasons. One is that we don't want people to be going on ratings and review sites and going on there and ranting and raving about us, because if you'll start seeing comments like, I've lived there for 2 years, loved it, and then I got nickeled and dimed when I moved out. So things like that. So again, so it really focuses on the move out. But typically when you look at this graph, it goes up at lead conversion, everyone's really happy. The first 3 months people generally are the happiest, and then it goes down prior to pre-renewal, and then usually either it re-engages again because they renew, or they move out and it goes down. So anyway, so this is how you would score 30 days, 90 days, and 365 days. Performance comparison, this is going to show your community. It's waiting to load, the Colorado Springs region. It'll show you how many surveys you've received over the last 90 days, the percentage that have been answered. This particular community, if you recall, had a super high loyalty score. It's a 70% right now. And they're responding to every single one of their surveys, which is super exciting. 100%, 100%. All of these are very high. So I can, if I want to see how many surveys came in, I see how many surveys have come in, but what if I want to see how many have come in that are low scoring, which are required 0 to 6? Recommend you respond, 7 and 8. Optional to respond, 9 and 10. So this will list for me all of them, and it kind of breaks down. And you'll notice that what I find, which is really interesting, especially over time, you will have more positive surveys, way more positive than negative. In most cases, that's what you'll find. So that's very exciting to get that positive feedback. The next part I want to show you is the question detail. And what you can do at your community is if you click on question detail, it'll show you all of your surveys that have come in and all the various touch points, and with all the typical and the 3 buckets that the questions will fall in: value, needs, and service. And then this would be on terms on loyalty, because we always have a loyalty and a likelihood of renewal question on every survey. So if I want to go just to a property, let's say I want to go to Adagio, and I want to go, here is move out, let's go to easy to contact and responsive. My service requests were handled in a prompt and satisfactory manner. Let's see. Let's go to a maintenance. Here's a great response, and then they have some objective feedback. Now I can go ahead and click on the magnifying glass. It'll take me right to that survey, and I can read the survey, and then I can respond to it right from here. Or I can go, as I showed you earlier, so I can go ahead and read the whole survey here, and then I can go ahead and respond to the survey. Or again, I could go back down over here to the accountability and respond from there. So for each question, you can go ahead and see the entire survey and see what people are saying. I can go through each one. So I can also download this, or I can right-click, and I can save this into my documents. Last thing I want to show you is the resident lookup. Go ahead and close some of these out. What this allows me to do is, again, access each of my residents and their history with me, and I can sort this by lease end date. So I can see who is moving out next, and I can go ahead and sort this so I can focus on those people, again, that are moving out. This tells me who it is. I can also look at it by touch point, their loyalty score. I can go over here and look at their name. So with Desiree, I can see here is her entire history with me. She didn't respond, but she did respond to this one. It's a move-out survey, and she scored 8 out of 10. Now, if I want to go to somebody who was in a maintenance, this was a 10 out of 10, and maybe this person is coming up for renewal. Okay, they're not till October of 2015, so I've got some time there. January I might focus on first, and I can get an idea of what kind of an experience they've had with me during their lease term. So that's the resident lookup. So that pretty much in a nutshell is the dashboard. Should be pretty easy to go through. Again, you can sort it by date range. You can filter it if you're regional or corporate. You can do it by region or state or trainer. There's different hierarchies built in, and again by apartment community. And then if you'd like some tips on best ways to respond, I would go right under here to resident surveys, under getting started, then to resident surveys, then to training quick tips. And here is going to be a whole list of articles that you can access on some good ideas on best ways to respond. I particularly like this one. I'm going to go ahead and download. Let's see here. Okay, I'm going to download. And I'm going to go to how to respond to customer feedback. And it's going to give me 3 steps. Again, just some good starters that you can access. You can email this to yourself. You can cut and paste it and come up with your own best ways to respond. I also would suggest going over to here to our webinar training. We bring in outside speakers, and we do 2 to 3 webinars every month, all related to best ways to respond to your residents, ratings and reviews, survey responses, the customer experience. And I highly suggest you just go in here when you have time and maybe take a webinar. They're 30 minutes. They're free. Excellent ideas, very relevant, very up, very new. How to respond to apartment reviews. You can use this, again, in terms of responding to survey feedback. And one of the areas that I like the best, too, when you're talking about really creating a great experience, there's all kinds of great topics on creating a great experience and setting the right expectations. You know, in the surveys, they'll ask questions like, are your expectations the same now as they were prior to moving in? And part of that, too, is in leasing, when you're selling your community, is also, you know, bringing in some honesty. If it's an old site and you have old gates, for example, and they do break down and it's not in the capital budget to replace them, you might want to say we are gated, and from time to time our gates do break down, and this is what we have our residents do. So just a little bit more realistic, and again, just setting the right expectation and creating a great customer experience for your residents. So that is available to you, again, by clicking on webinars right here under resident surveys under getting started. So with that, I will go back to my PowerPoint. I wanted to share with you the template here, again, of just an example of the best of a way to respond for a 9 and 10. You can create your own template that'll reflect your personality and that of your communities. So again, feel free to reach out to me. Again, I'm Naomi. Here is my email address and my phone number. Feel free to reach out. We have an implementation team that's basically on call for anything that you might need. We're thrilled to work with you at Mission Rock, and I appreciate your time today in learning more about the Ellis Partners Resident Survey Program.